Good morning. Welcome to another time of encouragement. I just want to say I've been loving having other people giving encouraging messages. So if you've got a story of God's grace or a story of how He's encouraged you that you'd like to share with the church community here, please do WhatsApp me that. Keep it to around 5 minutes, and I'd love to share it so that we can all be encouraged. I've been going through the Gospels as part of my devotionals as well as the companion guide stuff. And today I've been in Matthew 14 and looking at Peter walking out upon the water. So let me just read this to us from verse 24. Meanwhile, the boat was already some distance from land, battered by the waves because the wind was against them. Jesus came towards them walking on the sea very early in the morning. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and they cried out in fear. Immediately Jesus spoke to them. "Have courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." "Lord, if it's you," Peter said, "command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." And climbing out of the boat, Peter started walking on the water and came towards Jesus. But when he saw the strength of the wind, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus reached out his hand, caught hold of him, and said to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" When they got into the boat, the wind ceased. Then those in the boat worshipped him and said, "Truly, you are the Son of God." It's a phenomenal little encounter. And some of us, when we think of the story of Peter walking on the water, we think about the failure. We think about the fact that he almost drowned. He began to sink. And we can sometimes do that with our lives. We can look at the steps of faith that we've taken and only focus on the failures and the bad bits and the bits where we didn't do as well as we thought we could. But actually, this is a stunning picture of faith. What we have here is all the disciples in the boat, yet one had the confidence to say, "Jesus, call me to come to you." And that one stepped out of the boat and walked upon a stormy sea. There's nothing like this in the rest of the Gospels. Peter walking out upon water. We know that Jesus could do miracles, and now Jesus has enabled Peter to walk out miraculously upon the water. That is an amazing testament to Peter's faith and to Peter's trust in Jesus. Yet so it's strange that Jesus said, "Well, you have little faith. Why did you doubt?" Now, the context of this in the original languages is not "why did you doubt?" because we know it was due to the wind and the waves, but it was, "Peter, what was the purpose of doubting?" And again, when we look at the word doubt, what it really means is why did you get distracted? Why did you hold these two things that you had faith in? You had faith in me, yet you also had very real faith in the things that are going on around you, the sea and the storm. What was the purpose of looking at the two? Why not just look at me? Why not trust me? Why not just focus on me in the midst of your storms? And so the encouragement to us this morning is to do just that. Trust in God. Look to Him in the midst of the storm. Because as soon as you start giving storms some credit, as soon as you start focusing on the realities of the storm around you, you're going to lose your gaze on Jesus, who we know to be all sufficient in the midst of our storms. This whole encounter also speaks at another level that Jesus is the one that can walk out upon the storms of our lives. Jesus is the one who meets us in the midst of the storm. And yes, we know from Matthew 8 that Jesus is the one that actually calms the storms of our life. But also in those stormy seas, if we feel like we're losing our strength and our feet are slipping and it looks like we're going to fall in because of the circumstances that are raging around us, all we need to do is cry out, "Jesus, save me." And we know that God is faithful to reach out His hand and rescue us in the midst of any of our storms. Jesus is the anchor in the midst of our storms. So let's be encouraged in faith this morning to step out of the boat. If we want to walk on the water with Jesus, if we want to walk out on the storms of life, we need to get out of the boat. We need to fix our gaze on Him, and we need to trust in Him above all the circumstances of this life. I hope that encourages you. Please do share further stories. This Sunday we're going to be looking at Peter's failure in denying Christ. So we're going to look at this topic of failure and also the psychological and spiritual impacts of failure, and particularly fear of failure. So please do come and join us on Sunday at 10:30 on YouTube, youtube.com/Christ Central Church. But also at 8 o'clock on Sunday night, I'll be hosting a special Zoom group for those who feel the impact of their failures or they're struggling to find freedom from those. And we're going to introduce you to some Freedom in Christ resources. And I'm going to talk to you a bit about my journey through fear of failure and how I've been able to find freedom in that through coming to Jesus. I hope that's encouraged you, and I'll see you soon.